Finally, we've had a little bit of rain. September has turned to October, and it's always one of my favourite times of the year. The garden sort of comes back to life again after those long, dry, scorching months of the summer when everything looked a bit sad and sorry for itself. This year I was really worried that we weren't going to have any autumn colour because of the drought. Often when the acers and other shrubs and trees get too dry, the leaves start and shrivel and fall prematurely before they actually colour in the autumn. So this year it's a real bonus. I've been staggered by how well the acers have tolerated the drought. We haven't watered any of them, but still they're giving us, I would say, the best display we've had at all. So I want to show you some of what I call the early autumn acers, the first acers that colour. This one here, beautiful tree, we planted this about 10 years ago. It's Acer, japonicum, Aconitifolium. The leaves are really quite large, deeply divided and quite feathery. And it just has the most fantastic autumn colour. So there's actually lots of different factors that affect how well each Acer will colour for you. Just because it's Acer, japonicum, Aconitifolium doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get this spectacular colour. To increase your chances of having best colour, one, plant it in ericaceous or acidic soil if you can. It is a myth that acers need acidic soil. They don't need it, but they perform better in it. They will colour better. Same with all ericaceous loving plants. They will colour better for you if you can give them ericaceous soil. The second thing is plant it where it gets enough sunshine. If you plant any plant that you're growing for leaf colour, whether it's autumn colour or even purple leaf colour through the year, if you plant it in the shade, it will suppress the colour and they will probably stay fairly green. So I can show you, for example, just round the corner, we've got a different Acer, a small one here. This one's Acer palmatum Dissectum. Has lovely green leaves throughout the summer. When it comes to the autumn, they colour nice orange, yellowy orange through to red before they fall. You can see this one's just beginning to colour now. It's a much smaller variety, different habit, different shape, different leaf shape altogether, but still good for reasonably early autumn colour. And if you come with this way, I will just show you exactly the same plant that's been grown in a shady site, and you'll see how the colour is not nearly as good, and it's also much later. So if you grow them in full sun, you're going to get earlier colouring and earlier leaf fall. So this is a slightly larger, slightly older specimen, Acer palmatum Dissectum again, but you can see this one is grown in the shade of the beech hedge behind, and so it hasn't started colouring at all yet. So walking down the main vista from the entrance to the garden, we're coming through some of the island beds. You can see beautiful autumn colour. There's a lovely Acer senkaki on the left, which again is colouring salmony orange colours. Lovely Perotia in the background and Euonymus on the left. Beautiful Cantinus, Obovatus on the right, and then we home in on this fantastic coloured Acer in the middle of this bed. 2 or 3 days ago, the leaves on it were a sort of deep red wine colour. Acer japonicum Vitifolium it's called. But just in the space of a couple of days, the leaves have turned from the blood red to this bright, stunning red colour. So you get an idea of the size of this Acer. It's actually bigger than the Aconitifolium ones and the Dissectums. This one has been planted here about 20 years. It might get a little bit taller, it might not, but it makes a beautiful shaped tree anyway, nevertheless. A lot of people are curious what makes the leaves turn this amazing colour in the autumn. The leaves don't actually change colour. What happens is, as they die back and the process of closing down for winter, the green pigment, the chlorophyll, breaks down, and that actually allows the other pigments which are actually present in the leaves for the whole of the year to become more dominant and actually shine through. So we've got all the anthocyanins and the carotenoids. Carotenoids, from the name from carrots, they give you the orange colours, and the anthocyanins, the purple colours. So those are the ones that we're seeing at the moment before the leaves fall. This is another really fantastic Acer, probably one of my top 3. Acer palmatum Chitoseyama. Now this one normally colours a little bit later than it is now. I would say its peak would usually be about the 21st to 24th of October. And we at the moment are only on the 6th, so we're a good couple of weeks early. And that's the same with most of the autumn colour, but this one in particular. And I just wanted to show you this one because you can see a lot of the leaves have actually dried and gone crispy. And I expected that's what was going to happen to most of the Acers this year because we had such horrendous drought. And I really was worried that we were going to have no autumn colour at all. But it's really surprised me how resilient the Acers have been. But that's why we've got some of the leaves that have actually withered before they've coloured. But nevertheless, it is colouring up nicely. It makes a beautiful shape. It's quite spreading and elegant, the shape of this Acer. It's a good one for growing in a pot as well. Car park area here, and I've got some beautiful Acers that were planted probably about 20 years ago at least. And I've got 3 Acer palmatum Osakazukis, you can see here. Originally 2 were planted, and then I put a 3rd one in. And looking at them, you wouldn't believe they're all actually the same variety. But the reason that this one has coloured much earlier is because it's a smaller tree and it's suffered more with the drought. The more established ones have got a much more established root system, and they've been able to withstand the drought slightly better. And this follows through when you go to any nursery. Often the plants in the pots will colour much better than the ones out in the garden. So you really do need to pick one with very good colour when it's in the pot, and don't be disappointed if it doesn't necessarily colour up quite as well once you get it into the garden. So as I said, there's lots and lots of different factors that affect how the plants grow. Where they're positioned, the soil they're in, the sun they get, and then the climatic conditions of each year. We're just coming through an area that we've cleared and created a new bed literally 2 years ago. And the Acer that we can see in the distance over there, Acer rubrum, has been there for quite some time, 15 years, but originally it was planted in a heavily dense canopy of sweet chestnuts, so it really didn't see much sunshine. And having cleared those trees, most of which had died, it's suddenly seeing more sun. And this year it's coloured for the first time ever. You can see these lovely bright red leaves. They actually resemble quite closely sycamores, and my father, who is a farmer, frequently comes round and just comments, "What are you planting all those rotten old sycamores for?" And I'm saying, "Dad, they're not sycamores, they're Acer rubrum, they will colour beautifully." And of course they haven't done for years and years, but finally now they are colouring because they're seeing enough sunshine during the summer. So by comparison, I just wanted to show you this Acer, which is Acer palmatum Orange Dream. It comes into leaf with quite yellowy leaves in the spring, and they stay quite golden throughout the whole summer. Again, it doesn't really like being in full sun, but it does colour better if it is there. But this one here is still very green. The yellowy lime green colour has faded. We've gone to darker green now, and probably in about 2 to 3 weeks we will get the lovely orangey colours of it. I have one in a pot which I'm going to show you next, which is a complete contrast. You wouldn't believe they were the same plant, but it demonstrates how differently the same plant can react in different conditions. So this is my other Acer palmatum Orange Dream, and you can see why it's got its name now, although it almost should have been Red Dream. It's coloured so brilliantly this year. But you can see the difference just by growing it in the pot. The roots have obviously had periods of drying out a lot more during the summer than the one in the ground, which has actually received a lot more water. So there's lots of tricks you can play to extend the period of your autumn colour as well, so that you have colour from the beginning of October right through the month and even into November. So here in our nursery you can see where we stock probably about 40 or 50 different types of Acers, and you can see by some of them are still quite green, some of them are orange, some of them have turned red. Most of these are named cultivars, some of them have got deep red leaves still, but most of them will colour eventually, if not at the moment. But it's the palmatum ones that you will get the most variation in. But as I say, you're best to come and choose your specimen whilst the leaves are still on it. So now is the perfect time to choose your Acer for autumn colour. So thank you very much for watching once again. If you've enjoyed our video, please like it and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hope to see you again soon.